Hi everyone, it's Sandy Chong here from the Australian Hairdressing Council. Now I have with me today Kelly Cunningham from Your Leasing Co. And I love Kelly because she's helped so many of our members during the pandemic with their landlords. We're going to have a chat to Kelly about the fact that the leasing code for New South Wales and Victoria has been extended. And so what I want to know is, for all of you out there in New South Wales and Victoria, in particular, what does this mean about the extension? So over to you, Kelly. What does this mean for all our businesses?
Thank you, Sandy. So look, it is good news for tenants in New South Wales and Victoria. In New South Wales, the only thing that they have changed is that the criteria are that you need to be a business with annual turnover of less than $5 million. Previously, it was less than 50 million. They've dropped it right down to 5 million, so that it means it really is covering true small business, which will be most of the people who are watching this live. And in Victoria, they've reduced it to $10 million. So again, it's definitely for the small business owner who most of you will be fall into that category. Look, in New South Wales, they've just extended the existing code, so the same rules apply. It means that no rent reviews can be implemented until after the 13th of March. It means you can't have your lease terminated for non-payment of rent because of you've got arrears or those sorts of things until after the 13th of March. It also means that the deferred rent balance that was due to be started to be paid from February is now not payable until April. So all of the things that were in place before are in place again. It just means that they've been extended for another 2 months, which gives everybody a little bit of grace period. Obviously, the challenges now are different to the challenges last year. They're still related to COVID, but different things because of obviously the new spread, people being in isolation, the high number of cases, and the challenges that people are having with staffing and things like that. Rather than government forced closures, it's been more based on individual closures of businesses due to staffing issues and those kinds of things. So in New South Wales, the code just continues as it was before. You've got to be down 30% or more to claim rent relief, and 50% of that rent relief will be deferred, 50% will be waived. So it's the exact same, except for the criteria is 5 million or less. In Victoria, it's $10 million or less. The details of the changes, if there are going to be any changes to what was already in place, are yet to be clarified, but there is a meeting taking place next Thursday with the Victorian Small Business Commissioner to try and iron out those things. So I'm expecting that within the next couple of weeks that will become clear. But in the meantime, just keep the details of your sales and things like that handy, and making sure you're keeping track of that, because it's likely that it'll be a continuation of the terms and conditions that were sort of being implemented before. Yeah.
Actually, now that you've mentioned keep details of your sales, one of the questions that's come up with our members quite often is landlords demanding P&Ls and a whole lot of reports. What kind of evidence do you need to give the landlord to show that you are that 30% down in turnover?
Well, so generally they're asking for, it's not a BAS return, because BAS returns are specifically for calendar periods of July, August, September, or October, November, December. And it's not over the quarter, it's per month. So information, if you've got a system, an electronic system where your payments and things are coming through, you could use that, or you can have your accountant provide the information as well once you've certified that after the end of month. And it's not always immediately available because this takes a few days to kind of finalise a month and finalise any credit card payments or people who are paying off things or whatnot. So you can provide that. And it's important to note that we're still comparing against 2019 as well, not 2021. Or 2020, you'll be doing January. When you're doing January and February, you'll be doing 2020 because it's still got to be compared to pre-COVID times. So I have had clients who have said to us, oh, my landlord wants to know what it was compared to last year. Well, it's not compared to last year, it's compared to 2019/2020. Yeah.
Wow, that's really informative. That's fantastic, Kelly. So that's New South Wales and Victoria. What about all the other states? I mean, we've had salons that have had to close down, for a few days, especially with this particular outbreak. So what about Queensland, WA, the other states? What have they got in place?
So those states don't have anything in place at the moment. I mean, I think everyone, obviously at the beginning, it was a shock to everyone. No one knew what to do, how long it was going to last, how it was going to impact their business, whether they could make it. The government stepped in and did an incredible job providing support to everyone. That was obviously 2 years ago. They provided support while it was needed. Now, in Queensland especially, we've had a really good run. We haven't had a lot of cases up until recently. So now my advice to people is that you really need to be building this into your own business as a contingency. It's a risk factor that you now need to add into your sort of risk profile that you manage. And you're looking at all kinds of risks in your business. What happens if I have to close for a few days? What happens if I get a positive case in my salon? What happens if all of my staff become sick? What do I, excuse me, what do I do? Have I got a contingency fund to cover that? Because as this goes on longer and longer, it's not reasonable to continue asking the landlord to continue to hand out continuous, relief and that kind of thing. The government's helped as much as they can. They've done a great job in helping us, but there comes a time whereas now it's part of normal now, right? So we now need to build that contingency into our businesses and have a plan for that independently of any government advice or assistance or financial support that they can provide. Yeah, we're definitely, encouraging our clients to start thinking like that and not sort of think, goodness, I've got a problem, and putting their hand straight out to the landlord, because the landlords, have done a lot of the heavy lifting over the last couple of years, and there is a limit to that. So it's now a business risk that needs to be included as part of your other business risks.
And I think many landlords have actually been hit quite hard. And, for many of them, that's their income. And we tend to forget that, they've also been hit hard. But anyway, Kelly, as always, you've got the most incredible advice, and you're really onto it when it comes to, leasing and landlords and what we can and can't do, especially at the moment. I always recommend that everybody, if there's any negotiations that you need to do over a lease, whether it's a new lease or an ongoing lease, go to Kelly first and get advice, because I know that she can save you like literally thousands of dollars by having her, acting on behalf of you. So thanks for all that information today, Kelly. And I think we might get an update, especially after the meeting with the Small Business Commissioner next week for Victoria. But thank you so much for the information. That was absolutely brilliant.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me, Sandy.
Thanks.